What's up, guys? So I've been meaning to make this video for a while. I just haven't really had time. Uh, my man Alexander Bromley made a video recently on his life changes, and he's having a kid, and I think that's amazing. And of course, congratulate him. Congratulations are due. It's wild. Fatherhood is wild, and I left a comment telling him how having kids, they're kind of the ultimate at making you change up on the fly and realizing how no matter how prepared you are, you're really not. He said, and I think this is kind of tongue in cheek, not 100% serious, but he said, as of right now, our kid will not eat processed food, won't use a tablet, won't get a cell phone until they can pay for it, and hopefully we can execute, but not enough to put any money on it. And that's kind of the sentiments there. And I'm going to make this into a series. All right, so I'm going to talk about nutrition. And this is my personal experience. This is what I've dealt with, what I've done. I'm not telling anybody how to raise their kid, how to feed their kid, but I am just going to say that this has been my experience. This is what I do, and perhaps there's things that other potential fathers, current fathers can take from my experience and apply to their own and help them. Um, that's kind of what this is for. If you know People are going to be critical regardless of how you decide to feed your kid. There's always going to be somebody better or something more perfect. And let me just say, in with all of these, probably in everything I say in this series, that do not let perfection or chasing perfection stop you from being very good, because perfection is probably not going to happen. Again, there's probably some special snowflake dad who is making perfection happen, and good for him. More power to you, bro. Anyway, so my son eats mostly whole foods, meats, potatoes, vegetables, fruits are probably 70% of what he eats. Now, early on, I was very much like Bromley's attitude. He's not going to eat any processed food, not going to touch tablets, blah blah blah. We are gonna be super perfect, Dad. That doesn't happen. That goes out the door really quick. I got to give props to my wife. She breastfed him for 2 years. There's no doubt in my mind that that is the best food there is for a growing baby is breast milk. So props there. But I was Dante's gonna eat fruits and vegetables and meats, and I was feeding him, oats and peanut butters and blueberries and strawberries and bananas. Little pieces of steak when he could start, chewing food and things like that. Mashed potatoes, mashed sweet potatoes, mashed carrots, all this really good, highly nutritious stuff. Oranges, whatever. Father of the year over here. Anyway, from his ages like 2.5 to 3, or 2 to 3, somewhere around there, right when he was taking off breast milk, she weaned him off the titties. Um, he stopped growing at the rate he should have been growing at. And the doctors, we take him for checkups and like, he can't grow, this ain't right, and ask what we were feeding him. And they were worried if we were underfeeding him. We're like, no, he eats all the time. And, this is what we're feeding him. We're like, all these good food. I would make him smoothies and shit, and, milk and blah, blah, blah. You name it. He was getting all this highly nutritious, not only food with adequate calories, but with adequate micronutrients. Um, and they ended up, after multiple visits over a year, they did an allergy test, and turns out like he was allergic to a lot of these foods. Not in like an anaphylactic shock sense, like he's gonna die without an EpiPen type of allergy, but very much digestive. He couldn't digest a lot of these foods, couldn't process them, and so he couldn't take all of the nutrition from them that he should have been taking, so he wasn't growing like he was supposed to. Um, and again, a lot of these, what you would consider healthy foods, were what you couldn't even, bananas, oranges, strawberries, um, nuts, nut butters, dairy products. Allergic to a lot of those. Hopefully, he should grow out of a lot of these things, and we are encouraged to let him try them in small doses from time to time as he grows. But however, this sucked because I was like, damn, here I thought was giving him the best of the best. Um, these great foods, and turns out it was detrimental to him. So uh, these days, again, like I said, it's mostly whole foods. We've had to cut down a lot of the fruits he can eat. He can eat apples, he can eat blueberries, he can eat raspberries. So he still has a good plethora of fruits he can eat. Watermelons, he likes melons a lot. Uh, and then beef, chicken, fish. He used to like salmon, but he doesn't like salmon anymore. Their taste buds change. He likes smoked oysters of all things. Um, Potatoes, broccoli. He doesn't really like broccoli a whole lot, but we make him eat it because it's good for his digestive system. But anyway, which leads me to my next thing. So we have made some compromise. He does eat bread. Like I make him sandwiches. I'm not one of these anti-bread people, so I'm not that guy. If you think that's bad, fuck off. Um, but he'll have like his lunch will be a sandwich, um, like a bowl of grapes and blueberries, a packet of carrots, maybe an applesauce or maybe a whole apple. And sometimes I'll prep like beef and rice. He likes beef and rice a lot, so I'll prep beef and rice on Sunday, and I'll put a bowl of beef and rice in place of the sandwich, and then the same, little bowl of grapes and blueberries or raspberries and carrots and whatnot. So he's pretty healthy for lunch. Some compromises we made: breakfast. Typical breakfast, I'll get like they're little 2 packs of sausage biscuits. You can throw them in the microwave for like 90 seconds, and they're fucking delicious. But he'll have a couple of those, and then frosted mini wheats. And now, I'm not a big sugar cereal person for kids. It should be more a treat if you're going to let your kids have it, and not an everyday breakfast, in my opinion. However, we made a bit of a compromise, and like I give him like it's one serving, like a handful of these frosted mini wheats. Again, there's a little more sugar than I would like, but the fiber, his digestive issues, so it helps him get fiber, and he can't eat oats. He eats blueberries and broccoli and stuff later in the day, but I like to get him some fiber in the morning. So the frosted mini wheats, I think they're called like frosted mini spooners. It's the Kroger generic brand. But he'll have a handful of that with his sausage biscuits in the morning. Sometimes I just give him sausage patties. We get pre-cooked sausage patties and microwave them. I'm sure there's all kinds of good preservatives in those too. Uh, Again, you'll be willing to make your own compromises and what you won't compromise on as you go. And then like his last meal is dinner. It's usually some kind of meat and broccoli, and sometimes potatoes, sometimes rice with it. But always there's always like a meat and a vegetable, and then usually he'll have like some grapes or an apple or something or carrots as a snack before bed sometime. Um, and we've also had chicken nuggets. You want your kids to eat protein? Chicken nuggets. It's a life hack. Thankfully, Dante does like regular meats and stuff. But if you're having issues with your kids eating meats, chicken nuggets. They're easy. You throw them in the air fryer. You get the Dino nuggets. Especially with Dante too, because he didn't grow for a little while. So on his more active days, like the days he trains jujitsu or the days I take him to the gym, that's typically like a chicken nugget day I'll throw in there. He's not eating chicken nuggets like every meal every day. I know some parents, that is their kid's only form of protein that they're getting, and that's not probably the best. Again, I'm not going to tell anybody how to raise their kid. That's not something I would do, but especially when you've had a long day, sometimes kids had a long day, you've had a long day. Like I said, the days he trains jujitsu, we get home later than normal. It's easy to throw them motherfuckers in the air fryer. Throw some steamable broccoli in the the microwave, and you got protein and veggies. Sometimes I'll make him some eggs with some egg whites for a little extra protein. Thankfully, he likes eggs, and now that he's kind of getting into training in the gym and things like that, I've told him that I put the egg whites, the extra liquid egg whites, into scrambled eggs, and that gives them more protein to build more muscle, and he thinks that's the coolest thing ever. So a lot of it's mental too. You gotta mentally get your kids on board and pump them up and encourage them. There's times where it's that, and then there's times where you do have to be the disciplinarian and be like, look, you little shithead, you're gonna try this, or you're gonna eat this, or you're gonna go hungry. And kids, when they get hungry enough, will eat. Trust me, they're not gonna starve themselves. And I think a lot of parents give in way too soon, in my opinion, and from my experience. When kids are little, they cry, and that's how they communicate, and it's kind of a guessing game, and they carry that on into their early childhood if you let them. They Kids are very manipulative, and they remember from being a baby, when I cried, I got what I want, and they'll try to keep doing that. And you should probably not give in to that. Which will segue me into next video. We'll talk about communication with your child, and ways to mitigate that crying manipulation, that I will have to give all due credit to my wife. But that will be next video. I just wanted to briefly go over nutrition. I think my main points are really allow yourself to be a little bit flexible, but there is a time and a place to be rigid, and make your kid try new things. I always make Dante try new things that I know he's not allergic to, of course, because of allergies. But yeah, be fun when it's time to be fun. Encourage when it's time to encourage, and there should be more of that, honestly, than the rigidity. I think the encouragement yields better results more often than not. But don't be afraid to be the disciplinarian when it's time, and don't be afraid to make some compromises either, because it's gonna happen. Peace.